That's better. Thank you all very much for joining me this morning. I'll invite you just to sit down for a moment in a comfortable position, and you can bring your hands to your thighs, or you can bring your hands to your heart. And I'll get you to close your eyes, sit up nice and tall through the spine, and take a few slow, deep breaths through your nose. And just bringing that breath in and out through your nose. And I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to practice yoga, some time to work on your body and your mind. And it's always important to take time for yourselves. So just give yourself now the chance to settle down, to slow down. You don't want to think about what you were doing before you came in here today or what you have to do later. You just want to be. Be here and be in your own body. So if we're going through the class and something doesn't feel right, or if you're stiff or sore or nursing an injury, you want to make sure that you change the pose so that it suits you and so that you're able to make the very most out of your time. So just pick a feeling now. You can pick happiness, you can pick love, you can pick patience. Pick something that you would like to have more of in your life. And on every inhale for the next few moments, just breathe that in on every single one, nice and slow. Take 2 more of these breaths. And then you can release your hands and open your eyes and just kind of relax your shoulders, roll them backwards. Roll them forwards. And then inhale, shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, and exhale, release. Now drop your chin down towards your chest, and then roll that right ear over towards the right shoulder. Come back down through the center and roll the left ear towards the left shoulder. Now we're going to keep going back and forth, back through the center, nice and slow, rolling from one side to another, keeping the shoulders relaxed, and just pausing if you feel like it, if you need a little extra moment in a space. And then you can bring your head back to the center. And let's go ahead and hug your upper body. So just squeezing through the shoulders. Tuck your chin down towards your chest. And now take a nice deep breath in as you stretch your arms all the way out to the side. Lift your heart. Let your palms come up towards the ceiling. And you can lift your head ever so slightly. Stretching in here through the front of the neck, opening up through the heart and the chest. And now as you exhale, let's hug the upper body again, tuck the chin and round through the shoulders. So allow that top part of your spine to round to the front. And then inhale, stretch the arms back out to the sides, palms facing up, lift the heart, lift your face if you'd like. And as you exhale, let's hug the upper body again, tuck the chin, round through the shoulders. Inhale, stretch the arms out to the side, palms up, heart up, face lifted. And exhale, hug the upper body, round the chin and the chest and the back. Inhale, stretch it all out to the sides again, palms up, heart up. And then release, bring your hands down to your knees. So your legs can be in a cross position, or you can have them out straight, and it won't matter here. So as you slide your hands towards your knees, you're gonna round your shoulders, tucking your chin in. So this is just gonna stretch and allow the spine to round a little bit lower than the shoulders. Inhale, pull the hands back towards your hips. Roll your shoulders down and back, lift the heart. Again, lifting the face only if you'd like. You can keep your head looking forward. Exhale, hands to the knees, rounding the shoulders, rounding the spine. Inhale, hands to the hips, lifting the heart. Exhale, hands to the knees, rounding. Inhale, hands to the hips, lift the heart. Exhale, hands to the knees, round the shoulders. Inhale, hands to the hips, lift the heart. One more of these. Exhale, hands to the knees, round the shoulders. Inhale, hands to the hips, lift the heart. And then you're going to release back into the center. And then wherever your legs are, just stretch them out to the front, give them a little shake. And then you're going to fold them back in for a moment. Sit up tall and twist ever so slightly to the left. Looking back over the shoulder, breathe in. Breathe out. Rotate to the other side, all the way over to the right. Breathe in. And out. Release back to the center. And we're going to come forward onto our hands and knees. So space your knees a little bit further than hip width distance apart. You're going to point your toes and come on back into a child's pose, just rounding through the spine. You can stretch your arms straight out ahead of you. And then as you inhale, we're going to come up onto the hands and knees again. Tuck the toes under. As you exhale, tuck your chin around your spine. Inhale, let that belly drop. Look forward, reach the heart away from your tailbone, making your spine feel nice and long. And then as you exhale, tuck the chin around the spine. Inhale, drop the belly, looking forward, letting the tailbone reach away from the heart. Exhale, rounding the spine, tuck the chin. Inhale, drop the belly, look forward. Release back into a neutral spine. So now with those toes tucked under, you're going to lift your knees, coming back into downward facing dog. Lengthening out through the back of the legs, stretching the hips up towards the sky. Your heels don't have to touch the ground, but let's move your legs a little bit, bending one knee, straightening the other, just kind of walking your feet around. Fingers are spread wide on the hands. Let your feet come back to a still position and inhale, come forward into plank. Take a nice deep breath in. As you exhale, lower the knees down to the ground. Point the toes and then bend the elbows, lowering your body down to the ground. Roll your shoulders down and back and inhale up into a really low cobra, just a little bit lifted off the ground. And then you're going to tuck the toes back under, bend your knees, and come back up onto the hands and knees, making sure that you're lined up here with your shoulders, your wrists below the shoulders, knees are below your hips. As you exhale, tuck the chin and round the spine. Inhale, let the belly drop, look forward. And then you're going to point your toes and come back into child's pose. Inhale, come back up onto the hands and knees. Tuck the toes under. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin. Inhale, drop the belly, look forward. And then lift your hips up into a downward dog as you exhale, feeling the length through the back of the legs, and just walk those feet around again. Inhale, come forward into plank. As you exhale, you're going to drop your knees, point your toes, and then bend the elbows, keep them alongside of the rib cage as you lower down. Roll your shoulders down and back, and then small little inhale as you, or lift on the cobra as you inhale. And now let's bend the knees and come back into child's pose again. Keep your arms nice and stretched out in front, lengthening here down by the armpits, down the sides of the rib cage. Take one more breath here. And then we're going to come back up onto your hands and knees. So you can just line everything up again if you feel like you're a little bit too stretched out. And now we'll go through that one more time. So as you exhale, tuck your chin and round your spine. Inhale, let your belly drop, look forward. Come back into a neutral spine. Tuck the toes under and lift the hips, coming back into downward facing dog. Take a little walk with the legs, lengthening through the back of the legs, lifting the sit bones. Inhale forward into plank. Lower the knees, and then you can point your toes and bend the elbows, lowering the upper body down to the ground. Roll your shoulders down and back. Inhale up into cobra. Bend the knees, coming back onto your hands and knees. Exhale, tuck the chin, round the spine. Inhale, let the belly drop, looking forward. And then exhale back into a child's pose. So we'll just take a moment here. You can stretch your arms out nice and long if you'd like, feeling that stretch through the shoulders, down alongside of the rib cage. And now let's walk the hands over to the left side of the mat. So you can keep your body where you are, but your hands over to the left. So now you should be getting more of a stretch through that right shoulder and underneath the right armpit, maybe down through that right side. You can try to rest your head down on that arm if you'd like, or the other one. And then lift your head, walk the hands over towards the other side of the mat, and then do the same thing. So just allow your body to settle down, trying to get more of a stretch through this left side. And then come back into the center, come up onto your hands and knees. Tuck the toes under and lift back into downward facing dog. Now let's soften the knees, walk your feet up towards your hands, keeping your knees bent here, feet about hip width distance apart. And then you can lift your hands off the ground, grab your elbow to do the ragdoll. So keep the knees soft, keep your upper body kind of low, hanging down to the ground. Relax through the back of the neck. You can make some yes and no movements with your head. And we're going to release your hands, bend the knees a little bit more, and then walk those hands all the way up body, coming up to a standing position. And I'll get you to stretch your hands up overhead, take a nice deep breath in, and then release your hands down to your chest. Now let's stretch the hands up again. Grab your right wrist and lean to the left. Just feeling that length down through the right side of the body. If you'd like to increase the stretch a little bit, you push your hip a little more to the right. Release back to the center, switching wrists, so grabbing the left wrist, leaning to the right. Again, to increase it, you just let your hip slide a little bit more to the left. And then let's release back to the center. Release your hands and come all the way down along the sides. All right, now soften your knees here. And you're gonna fold forward again. This time bringing your hands around the back of your leg. Letting them slide down the calves. You can keep your knees a bit soft, relaxing through the shoulders, through the upper body. And then we're gonna come all the way back up to that standing position. Make sure that your feet are about hip-width distance apart here. And you want to straighten up through your spine. So we're going to keep our spine straight as we into this pose. And it doesn't always have to be straight up towards the sky. It's just going to be on a little bit of an angle. I just had to check my screen because there's some sort of a pop-up there. Okay, so we're going to come in. So nice straight spine. Feet are hip-width distance apart. You're going to bend your knees and bend at the hips. You want to keep your belly in towards your spine. Now, hands can come to your hips, or you can hold your legs, or you can reach them out from your shoulders. You want to have those shoulders nice and strong, so they're going to roll them back, tuck them alongside of your spine, and let your hands come forward. Take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, you're going to release your hands, and you're going to release your legs and just come to a standing position. Give those legs a little shake. Now let's bring your feet together. So you want to have your big toes touching and your heels just a little bit spaced. And then you're going to press your knees together, and you want to have your knees so that they're lined up. So your toes are touching, knees are touching, and you're going to bend at the hip, bend at the knees. Again, try to keep that straight spine with your belly button pulled in towards your spine. Hands can come to the chest, or again, out in front or at the hips. One more breath in, and we're going to straighten. So this next time, we're going to do the same pose. So toes are touching, knees are pressed together, and we're going to twist one side and then the other. So if you go the wrong way, that's okay. All right, so you're going to pull the belly button in towards your spine. Hands are going to come to your chest this time. And then you're going to sit at the knees, bending, sit at the hips, bending at the knees. And this time, twist to the left. So you can just twist a little bit through the upper body. When you twist, you want to make sure that your knees stay even so that one knee doesn't shift in front of the other. Nice deep breath in. And exhale, we're going to fold forward, relaxing through the legs. You can let those knees go a little bit. And then you're going to soften your knees, come back all the way up to that standing position. Inhale, hands are going to come up overhead. Exhale, hands are going to come back down to your chest. And now we're going to sit at the hips, bending at the knees again, pressing those knees together. Keep a straight spine, belly button pulling in towards your spine. We're going to twist the opposite direction, keeping your knees lined up. One more breath in. And exhale, release, fold forward, relax the legs. And then soften the knees and roll your way up, all the way up to that standing position. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Relax the legs. Give your legs a little shake. We're going to come into an eagle pose. So you're going to bring your hands to modify this pose. It is hands together, elbows towards each other. Otherwise, you're going to cross your right elbow over your left, back to the hands or the palms together. And then you can either position, you're going to lift or lower your elbows so that you start to feel a stretch across the back of the shoulders, maybe through the back of the neck. So wherever you are. And then you're going to sit at the hips a little tiny bit, softening your knees, and you can just hold the pose here, or you can cross your left leg over your right. Toes stay on the floor for balance, or you can tuck them behind the calf. Now let's unwind the legs, unwind your arms, and then bring your hands behind your back, let's interlace the fingers here, or just simply press your hands into your hips, roll your shoulders down and back, and just kind of open up through the chest, a little arch through the back. And then you can release your hands. We're going to switch sides there, so you can modify again by bringing the hands together, elbows towards each other, and then adjusting the height here. Or you can cross your left elbow over your right, backs of the hands or the palms together. So just make a couple little adjustments here, height-wise, till that you're comfortable. You want to have the belly button pulled in towards the spine, and you can keep the pose here, or you can add on by crossing that right leg over your left. Toes are going to sit on the floor, or you can tuck that foot behind the calf as you sit your hips down. Now let's unwind the legs, unwind your arms, and bring the hands again behind your back. So you can either interlace the fingers and roll the shoulders back, or lay them on the hips. Enough to kind of reverse that action. Now let's release. So we're going to let the weight shift over to the right foot. You want to keep your hips level. So as we shift the weight to the right, you want to make sure that that hip doesn't shift out to the side. And you're going to take your left leg and you're going to lift it off the ground. So you can first come to having the toes on the mat, your heel lifted, knees bent. And then if you like, you can, but from here, you want to make sure your belly button's pulled in, make sure your spine is nice and straight, and that everything's fairly controlled. So you can either leave it like this with the knee bent, or you can bring that knee in a little bit closer to your chest. You can hug it in, you can hold on to the back of the leg or the knee. Let's pull those toes up if you have the leg lifted off the ground, and then point them down. And we're going to release that leg nice and slow back down to the mat. Shift the weight, so now over to the left side, making sure that the hip is feeling nice and strong, belly button's pulled in. The right foot's going to come forward. So toe on the mat, knee bent. You can leave it here because that's kind of starting to engage the muscles through the hips, through the abdomen. So you can leave it here, or you can pull that leg in a little bit closer, grabbing the back of the thigh, grabbing the knee, hugging it in. You're going to pull the toes up, point the toes down, and then slowly release that leg, and then just give your legs a little walk around to relax them. Now we're going to step your left foot back. So you're from a standing position where your hips were lined up completely over your ankles. You're feeling nice and tall and straight. Let's take that left leg back just a little tiny bit. So everything else still feels pretty much like you're in control. Toes of that left foot are going to sit on the floor. So your heel is off. And now you're going to bring your hands to your hips. And you're going to lean forward with your upper body in a straight position. So nice and straight through the spine. And you're just going to soften this left knee and lean forward a little tiny bit. Now your back leg, you can leave it on the ground for support, or you can lift it and press the heel away from you. You're going to lower that leg back down to the ground, bring it forward so both feet are matched up again, and then walk the feet around just in position, keeping them in, same sort of place. Then we'll switch sides. So you're going to let the weight shift over to the left foot. The right leg is going to step back just a little tiny bit. You're going to stay on the toes of that foot. Keep everything controlled, so belly button pulling in towards your spine, nice straight spine, and then lean forward from the hips, straight. Bend your left knee a little tiny bit, and you're going to hold it here, or you can come on down to perpendicular to your leg. So you can leave that right foot on the ground, or you can lift it a little bit, pressing the heel away from you. And then release that right foot back down. Upper body is relaxed, and you're gonna walk your legs out again. We're gonna space your legs all the way out nice and wide, and you wanna have your toes facing forward. So they're coming straight out here. You're gonna bend from the hips, soften those knees a little tiny bit, come on down to the ground. You can have block underneath if you'd like, or soften your knees a little bit more. Adjust your legs, making sure that everything is comfortable. Place your right hand on the mat underneath your nose and lift that left hand up to the sky. You can follow that hand with your head. So now you're looking up towards the sky as well. You want to reach the tailbone away from the top of your head. If there's any strain on the neck, just bring your head so that you're looking back down at the ground or out to the side. And then you're gonna lower that hand down to the ground. We're gonna switch sides. So you're gonna place that left hand underneath your nose now. The right hand sweeps up. And again, adjusting the head. So you're either looking down or out to the side or up towards the sky. We're gonna lower that hand down and walk both hands over towards your left foot. So from here, you're gonna place your right hand somewhere close to that left foot, so it can be on the mat, on your foot, or up on that left shin. Your left hand is gonna come up to the sky. It's same thing with the head. You can either look up to the side or down towards your foot. You can have your knees slightly bent here, just like that little soft bend in the knees, taking any pressure off the legs. Let's lower the hand down. We're gonna walk all the way over to the other foot. So all the way over to the right, and now your left hand is gonna come somewhere to the side there. So on the mat, on the foot, or up on the shin, and the right hand is up to the sky. Okay, lower that hand down, walk it back into the center. And then you're gonna walk your feet in, heel toe, till they're hip width distance apart. Soften the knees and walk your hands all the way up, keeping the knees bent and the hips bent until you come up to that standing position. And then when you are standing, you can look forward, roll those shoulders backwards. Roll them forwards. And inhale, shrug. And exhale, release. So I'm just gonna turn sideways here again. I'll get you to take your left foot and step it back. Nice comfortable distance. When you drop that foot down to the ground, you wanna have your heel in and your toe out to the side a little bit. Take your front knee and just let it bend. So the right foot is forward, that knee is bent. You're gonna lay your left hand on the back of your left thigh or up on your hip. And now let's take that right hand and let it come all the way up to the sky. And you can look up slightly, looking at the palm of your hand. That's gonna let your back arch a little bit. It's gonna stretch out through the front of the belly, open up through the heart. And now we're gonna take your right arm, bend it and bring it down to the right thigh. So you're gonna let it come all the way down. Alternately, place your hand right on that knee and you can stay up a little bit higher. Now your left arm, you can let it stretch up to the sky or you can lean it forward, making a nice long line between that left leg and the left hand. We're gonna bring that left hand back to the hip And come back up to that standing position. Let's stretch both of your arms out to the side. So right knee is forward, right hand is forward, left leg is back, left hand is back. Open up the palms to the sky, lift the heart. Now let's turn the palms down to the floor, but keep the heart lifted, keeping the chest open. And then you're going to release your hands down. Step that left foot forward. Give your legs a little bit of a relaxing walk around. And then you're going to we're going to switch sides. So you're going to step your right foot back and bend the left knee. So now you've got left hand forward, right hand back. You're going to drop your right hand back down on that thigh. The alignment of that back foot, your heel is in, your toes are a little bit out to the side again. You're going to lift your left arm up to the sky, and then you kind of look up towards the palm of your hand, lengthens here through the chest, arches through the back, opens up the heart and the lungs. And now we're going to bend that left arm, bringing it down to the thigh or taking the hand to the thigh. The right arm is going to come up overhead, or you can stretch it out to the front, making a long line between that right foot and the right hand. And you're going to take your right hand now and bring it back to your hip and press your feet into the ground, lifting up through the upper body, coming back to that position. Let's keep that left knee bent. Stretch both arms out. So the left knee is forward, the left hand is forward. Let's rotate the palms up towards the sky and lift the heart. And now rotate the palms down towards the floor. Keep the heart lifted. Keep the strength in the lungs, the openness. Release your hands, relax the legs, step it forward, and just walk them out. So we're going to shift the weight to the right foot. Again, keeping your hips in line, so you don't want to let that right hip push out to the side. We're going to come into a tree pose. So toes are either pressing on the mat into the side of your calf, and it's above or below the knee. So you want to keep it off the inside of the knee. Keep that right hip nice and strong, belly button pulling in towards the spine, and hands are your choice. So at the hips, at the chest, out from the shoulders, or up overhead. And you just want to stare at a spot on the floor or the wall, kind of focus on your breathing. Release your hands, release that left foot down to the ground. We're going to take your right foot up before we move into the pose and just rotate the ankle. You want to do both directions here. And then you're going to bring that right foot into the tree pose. So keeping your left hip nice and strong, belly button pulling in, make sure it's not sliding out to the side. And that right foot, you're going to toes on the floor, or you can bring them up to the inside of the thigh or above the knee. Inside of the calf or inside of your thigh. Focusing on that spot on the floor or the wall, and just letting the breath slow down. Hands again to the chest, out from the shoulders or up overhead. And then you're going to release your hands, release that right foot down to the ground, shift the weight over, and we're going to bring this left foot up and just rotate through the ankle, both directions. And then release. So we're going to do a little bit of it's a mix between a balancing exercise and a strengthening exercise. You're going to shift your weight to the right foot, keeping everything up here lined up nice and straight. So we're going to bend that right knee a little tiny bit, and your left foot, you can bring your hands to your hips for this because nothing above the hips moves at all through the pose. So you're going to keep your hands on your hips, reminding you to keep everything still and steady. The right knee is bent. Your left foot is going to come forward. You can touch the toes to the floor, or you can tap them. I usually like to tap them just because then I actually count how long I'm holding the pose. So I'll do about 4 or 5 taps in each position. And it's just a really small movement. This knee stays bent like a little bend the whole time. So now we're going to shift this left leg behind us. And it's not going to come too far behind. It's just like maybe a foot, because you don't want to go too far because then you start to shift through the upper body. So it's about a foot behind, and we're going to do 5 taps back here, just little tiny movements. And then you're going to bring it back to the center and lift out to the side. Again, just about a foot and a half of distance. We'll do 5 little taps out here. And we're going to cross in front of the body, so crossing the center line, and just do 5 taps here. And then you're going to bring that leg back to the center and shift sides. So now you're going to soften this left knee a little tiny bit. Bring the right foot forward. Do your 5 taps here, keeping your belly button pulled in towards your spine. And then you're going to let that leg shift behind you without moving anything through the upper body. Do 5 taps here. Bring it back to the center and out to the side. 5 taps. And then you're going to cross in front of the body. So you're on your left side. Do 5 taps here. And then release back to the center. Shift that weight back to the right side again. Soften the knee. The left leg comes forward. Do 5 taps. Shift it back. 5 taps. Back to the center, out to the side, 5 taps. Then cross in front, 5 taps here. Release that leg, shift over to that left leg, soften the left knee, the right leg comes forward. Do 5 taps here. Shift it back, 5 taps. Back to the center and out to the side, 5 times here. And then cross in front. And then you're going to release. You're going to soften your legs and just let them walk around. And it's just a nice little balancing exercise that you can do, and it also keeps the whole, like all of your lower chain of little stabilizing muscles. It helps those out. So we're going to lower down, now coming down into a seated position, and you can bring your feet out in front of you. Give your legs a little shake, and then you want to pull your toes in towards your face. So lengthening out through the back of the legs. And then let's relax the toes for a moment. Make sure that you're on your sitting bones so you can rock back and forth there until you feel that you're on both bones. You want to roll your shoulders down and back, keeping your spine as straight as possible, pulling your belly button in towards your spine. And then let's bring your palms down towards the ground, and you want to root the base of the palm there down towards the earth. And now let's pull those toes back towards your face again. Close your eyes and take 3 slow breaths. keeping this a nice active pose, rooting the hands down and pulling the toes in at the same time. And now release, relax the toes, relax your shoulders and your hands, and shake the legs out. You're going to take your right leg and fold it into the side. And then you can let that left leg open out a little tiny bit on an angle. So you're going to turn your body to that leg. So it's only out a couple of degrees. You want to turn your body the same way and lift up through the top of your head. And then you're going to fold down over that leg, reaching the heart towards your feet. And then you're going to soften the shoulders, let your spine round, let your hands reach down towards the foot. You can pull the toes in to increase the stretch. To decrease the stretch, feel free to tuck those hands underneath your knees. It's going to just soften that leg enough to decrease the stretch. This one's really good for opening up through the hips, both the inner thigh and the outside of that hip on the back. Okay, let's come back up into the center. Take your right leg now and lift the knee up towards the sky. You want to have your foot on the ground, and then let's straighten out that left leg. So now it's straight ahead of you again. So this right leg, you want to maybe open it up a little bit more to the side. So it's kind of pushed out here away from the center of your body. You're going to bring both hands now to the inside. So this knee is just kind of there. We're going to get a little bit of a hip stretch as we do this. So you want to sit up tall again and lean down towards that left leg. So you're going to stretch sometimes at the very top of your hip or maybe on the inside of the thigh. Feel free to adjust this foot in any direction or place over here on that right side. And you can let your chin drop down towards your chest here. And then you slowly bring it back up to the center. And we're going to take that right leg, stretch it out, give both legs a shake, pull the toes in towards your face, and then relax them, open up that right leg a little bit to the side, and fold your left leg in. And now turn your upper body to this right leg, sit up tall, and lean forward, letting the heart come towards your toes. And then soften the body, letting the shoulders round, letting the spine round. Hands can come down to the foot. Toes can pull up to the sky to increase the stretch, or hands can tuck underneath that knee to decrease it. You want to try to let the left side of your lower back relax, the outside of that hip, the inside of that left leg. Walk the hands back up into the center. We're going to take your left leg, bring it up so the knee is pointing up and your foot is on the ground. So we're going to keep that open to the side. Swing that right leg in now so that it's straight out ahead of you. And then adjust this leg so that it is somewhat comfortable. You're going to bring both hands to the inside and just kind of forget about this leg, even though that is where we're getting most of the stretch. You're going to lean down on the inside of your leg. So sometimes a little bit of pressure here on the right up on the top of that inner thigh, maybe a stretch through the back side of that leg on the hamstrings. Adjust the foot, making sure that that leg is fairly comfortable. Tuck your chin in towards your chest. And then slowly release, working your way back up to the center. You're going to bring both legs forward and give them a shake. Now let's Bend your knees. So both feet are on the floor. You want to make sure that you're on your sitting bones here. And you're going to come up to your toes. You're pulling your heels off the ground. And you want to have a nice straight spine. You can hold on to the outside of the knees or the legs. And you're just going to lean your upper body back. So nice and straight through the spine. Toes are on the mat here just for a little bit of balance. And you can hold on to the legs if you'd like. So even just being in this position with your upper body leaning back, you're engaging your abdominal muscles. And if you want to increase that, you lift your toes off the floor. Try not to put too much pressure on the arms. Okay, now slowly release the feet to the floor. You're going to draw the soles of your feet in close together, bringing the soles together. You can sit up tall and then lean forward over your legs. So in a little butterfly position, keeping the knees still and just allowing them to open softly. Lift up through the upper body, shift the position of your feet just ever so slightly. So you can either bring them in a little closer to the hips or you can bring them further away. And then same thing, just lower down over those legs again. Try to soften through the upper body, through the spine, and through the hips. So just a little change in position there. Okay, release through the upper body. Coming up, you're gonna bring the knees together and we're gonna come forward down onto the belly. All the way down on the front. You're gonna stretch your arms out in front of you and point your toes. So make sure that your hips are comfortable. Let's lift the right arm. And for this, you can have your head, your face looking down at the mat, or you can actually rest your forehead down. So you want to lift your right arm and lift your left leg. They're not going to come off the ground very much, just a little tiny, enough to start to engage the muscles. Then you're going to lower that and switch sides. So lifting the left arm and the right leg. Release. Right arm, left leg. Release. And left arm, right leg. So just alternating right and left. And now we're going to stop here, lower both legs down, both hands are on the ground. So this time you're going to place, just draw your hands back a little tiny bit and have your palms on the floor with your elbows lifted. So you're going to lift your right leg and your left arm this time is going to drag back towards your hip. And then you're going to slide it all the way forward again and release. You lift your left leg, take the right hand, palm on the ground, elbow lifted, slide it back towards your hip, slide it forward, and release. Switching sides again, right leg lifts, left hand slides down, keep the elbow lifted, slides forward, and release. Left leg lifts, right hand slides towards your hip, slide back, and release. Now let's roll over onto your right side. So you're on your right elbow, which is directly below your right shoulder. You can have your feet one in front of the other or stacked on top of each other. And what you're just going to do here is breathe in. As you exhale, you're going to press the elbow down into the ground and lift that hip off the mat. Breathe in and lower. I can't get my breathing right. It's in and out. Got that much figured out. And if I breathe in or say breathe in, you can breathe out at the same time. So sometimes having your hand open nice and wide will give you a little bit more balance here, and feel like you're off, just slide that elbow around a little bit. Your other hand, you can have right in front of you, with like pressing that down into the ground, just to give a little bit of assistance here with the hips. So we're only gonna do 5 of these. So your hand is on the mat, you're in front, and it's just with your breath, lifting the hip and lowering. Lift and lower for 2, lift and lower for 3, lift and lower for 4, and lift and lower for 5. Now we're gonna switch sides. So your left elbow's on the ground. I'm gonna turn over on my mat for you. So hand is split out to the side, elbows underneath the shoulders, feet are either stacked or separated, one behind the other. So we're just gonna do 5 of these. So it's lifting and lowering, nice slow movements. Lift and lower for 2. You want to keep that shoulder strong, the one that's down on the mat. Lift and lower for 3. Lift and lower for 4. And lift and lower for 5. And then you're going to roll back down onto your belly again. So stretching your arms straight out to the side, feet are back down behind you. You want to lift your left leg, and you want to lift both arms and let them come to the side. Let them come back up to the front and lower, lowering that left leg down. So it's just one leg with 2 arms. So now we're going to lift the right leg, lift both arms, bring them out to the side, bring them back to the front, and lower everything. Left leg lifts, both arms lift, bring them out to the side, bring them back to the front, and lower everything. Right leg lifts, lift both arms, bring them out to the side, bring them back to the front, and lower everything. And now you're going to bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Make your way back into a child's pose. The hips coming down towards the heels. Take 2 slow breaths here. And then we're going to roll over onto your back. When you're ready. And you can just hug those knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Let your hands come down to the center, let both legs stretch up to the sky, pull the toes down towards the face. Point your toes to the sky, pedal your legs like you're riding a bike. And then you want to switch direction. Pedal backwards. And then let them come to the center. You want to fold them down. Let both legs roll towards the floor on the right. Your hip comes off the ground. You can use a pillow under the knees or a block to stop you from rolling quite so far. You want to stretch your arms straight out from your shoulders and either look up towards the sky or over towards your left hand, so opposite of your knees. And then you're going to bring your head and your knees back into the center. And we're going to switch sides. So you're going to let the knees roll to the other side. And then keep looking up towards the sky or glancing over towards that opposite hand. Okay, release the knees and your head back into the center. And then you're going to go ahead and let your legs rest all the way down on the bottom. Just give your legs a little wiggle. Stretch your arms up overhead. Nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to release your arms down along your sides. And we're going to start our relaxation. We're just going to take a moment. You're going to close your eyes and allow your body to settle down into the ground. Starting with your feet, relax your toes. Relax the arches and your heels. Relax the calf muscles, your knees, thighs, and hips. Relax the muscles in your lower back. All the muscles along the spine, your shoulders, arms, hands, and fingers. Relax your neck, your face, and your head. Relax your eyes, your mouth, and your lips. Relax the muscles in your chest and thank your heart muscle for being so strong. Now you want to go inside and relax the mind. Focus on the silence inside and the grounded stillness. Draw your awareness back to your body now. And wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. And then reach your arms up overhead. Give yourself a nice long stretch. And then when you're ready, just roll over onto your side. Stay here for a moment. Close your eyes and take another few slow breaths. And then you can use your hands and press your way up to a seated position, and they'll get you to cross your legs in. So sit up nice and tall here. Bring your hands down in front of your legs. Walk your hands forward just until you feel a little stretch through the hips and through the back. Keep your elbows soft. Walk those hands back in towards your hips. And then turn towards your left leg and bring one hand on either side of that leg and walk the hands out again. Feeling the stretch through that right hip this time. We'll walk the hands back into the center and then over to that right leg, one hand on either side of that leg, and walk the hands. Nice little stretch through that left side. Release it back to the center. And then you're going to bring both hands over to the sides of your hips. And as you inhale, you're going to sweep the hands up overhead. Breathe in at the top. And as you exhale, turn your hands to the side, spread your fingers really wide and have them strong as you push your way back down, almost like you're pushing down through water. Inhale, sweep the hands back up again. Turn the hands, spread your fingers wide and press those hands all the way down. And then relax your arms. Inhale, shrug your shoulders and exhale. And then you can bring your hands to your heart. Take a nice deep breath in here. And release. And thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.